to the Comfort Keepers International Women's Day interview. We're here today with some of the amazing, inspiring ladies who work in Comfort Keepers in all of the different departments. And they're here to, I suppose, share their experiences with us and tell us a little bit about what motivates them as women working in Comfort Keepers. My name's Kelly Doherty, and I'll be leading the conversation today. And we have 5 amazing women with us, and each of them are going to introduce themselves now. So Sharon, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your position?
Hi, my name is Sharon. So I'm a healthcare assistant with Comfort Keepers. I've been working with Comfort Keepers coming up to 8 years now. Recently, I'm just on maternity leave. I was working full-time, but I will be returning back to work just for part-time for the time being.
Great, brilliant. Thank you so much. Jessica?
Hey, my name is Jessica. I am working as an area manager in the Dublin South office in Comfort Keepers. I've been with the company now about 2 years. Started off as a supervisor and progressed up to area manager after 6 months.
Brilliant. Rosanna?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Rosanna Martin. I'm the Director of Business Development at Comfort Keepers. I've been here part of the furniture now. I've been here 13 years. I've progressed from roles of care coordinator to manager to marketing to business development. So yeah, seen every area.
Great stuff. Sinead?
Hi, my name is Sinead. I've been working with Comfort Keepers on and off over the last 10 years in healthcare. I started as an intern and now I am the permanent capacity manager.
Brilliant. And Ruth?
Hiya, yeah, my name's Ruth Collins. I'm the National Head of Client Services for Comfort Keepers. Started my journey with the company in Galway nearly 6 years ago as care manager. Did a stint as care manager in North Dublin and was operations manager in North Dublin for 2 years. So 6 years, not 13, but we're getting there.
Brilliant. So yeah, I guess kind of starting off with the first question, because it's International Women's Day, why do you think that it's important to celebrate International Women's Day, if anyone wants to kick us off?
Starting with me.
Yeah.
It's important because it gives us an opportunity to highlight issues that women are facing in the workplace, especially equality and gender. It also gives us the opportunity to acknowledge and to celebrate the women that inspire us, and just to celebrate women that have made a really impact, especially in the last 2 years in the pandemic. It's good to acknowledge strong women.
Yeah, brilliant. Does anyone else have any suggestions as well?
I'd 100% agree with Sharon. I think it really is about, supporting women, whether no matter what career you decide you want or what journey you want to be on. It's supporting every woman and every woman in what they want in their life and in their career. And I think that equality piece and gender equality is hugely important. I'm very proud of the fact I work for a company that's, I think 80 to 90% female dominant, and our managing director is a female, and I hold that with great pride. So yeah, I think it's really significant to continue to show the importance of women.
Brilliant.
As women, we don't stop as well and say how great we are, and where we've come from, probably from 100 years ago when we weren't in the workforce and we didn't hold positions that Rosanna's even mentioning there, and now we do, and it's class. I think it's good for people coming up in school now, looking at people holding high positions in politics or organizations, and yeah, it's just something that we should shout more about. We need a week, not a day.
Yeah, and I think too, really, even speaking on that, kids coming through school, I have 2 sons, and it's really good for them now to see, their mom working and seeing that it's equal. There is no difference in daddy working or mommy working. It's equal across, and I think that's a culture piece that's over time is changing, and it's a really important piece. Lovely to see.
Perfect. I suppose the kind of next question is a bit more of a personal question. How did each of you start on your current career paths? And we might start off with Sharon.
I started, unfortunately, when my mum took sick suddenly. So she was in hospital for a long time, and she was awarded a lot of hours to get carers to come in and look after her. I chose to give up work so I could look after my own mum. We didn't really want carers coming in. So that's how I chose. I looked after mum for 5 years, and then I chose, my mum got a little bit better. She was able to, do small things herself again. And I had 2 other family members that were able to assist with it as well. So it gave me the opportunity to go and work part-time. And that's when I knew I just wanted to go and help other people. So that's how I chose to get into the care and path.
Brilliant. That's gorgeous. Jessica?
Sorry, I just need to go and get the baby. She's crying.
Oh, don't worry.
Brilliant.
Jessica, would you like to share your story?
Yeah, I kind of fell into it by accident. I wasn't very good in school, didn't like the academic standing in school and the structure of it. So got told numerous times that I was never going to amount to nothing. And I was only ever going to be destined to be a hairdresser. That was, I was kind of told if you ever want to do a career, it has to be with people because you haven't got the smarts to do anything else. So I obviously wanted to prove them all wrong. And once I got out of the structured skill set and I went into college and had that freedom to do and choose to be there, I excelled. So it was kind of by accident I was told to work with people, and social care was the most open area at the time to work with people, and that's how I started.
Brilliant. Oh, I've a friend on the call.
Hi.
Hey.
Sorry for disturbing the whole people. Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bless.
Look at the smiles.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's showing us all up with star power.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Rosanna, you wanna?
How did I start in my current career path? Well, probably through applying for the job, I think 5 or 6 times, and nagging with numerous and countless phone calls. With a failed interview initially, but I was adamant I wanted to work with Comfort Keepers, and I wanted to work where I could take my business degree and my caring side and bring it together. So a lot of, I would say, persistence and nagging and pushing and adamant that, okay, you didn't choose me, but you're going to choose me yet. And finally, I did get picked in the end. I wasn't first choice, but I did get picked in the end. And haven't looked back.
Fantastic. Sinead?
So I started off in one of our regional offices as an intern, and Rosanna was actually my manager at the time. On my first day, I came in and she showed me a filing room that was ceiling to floor with pages, single pages, and she's like, I'll come back to you in 3 weeks. So I survived that 3 weeks, and healthcare wasn't anything I would have thought of before that. I started to see how the process worked and how we were helping people stay at home in their own house. So that spiked my interest, and I survived the 9 months just about, and the internship was up, and then there was an opportunity to be a coordinator in that office. So I applied and was successful. So it just went from there, it just grew legs, and yeah, here I am all these years later. I was a young mom, I suppose, and I stayed at home. So I didn't set a career path for myself like other people are saying they had their degrees and stuff like that. It wasn't like that for me. I literally fell into this, and then I started at an older stage, I suppose, with the educational side. So it's my contribution to caring. I'm not the person to go out and be a carer, but I feel like I contribute on this side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great stuff. And finally, Ruth?
Yeah, so my career started when I started in nursing. I did a nursing degree when I was 18, and always knew I wanted to be in care because would have had a great relationship with my 2 grannies and looked after them, and always just loved older people, to be honest.
Yeah.
And even when I trained, I always knew I wanted to work over 65s or kind of residential services and stuff. Did that for a little while, loved it. Always thought I'd be the type of person that would do her 3 12-hour shifts, look after people to the best of my ability, but then go home, you know. Like I took school very seriously, but when it came to career, I never saw myself being a leader or a manager. And then I just was looking for a change. I was in brain and spine unit that I absolutely loved, but I was just looking to see would I like something a bit more holistic and looking at people at home. So it's by pure chance that one day I said, oh look, I'll just go and apply for this. So applied for a coordinator role. Started as an enhanced coordinator, kind of like Rosanna. I applied in May and I was kind of like, hello. But thankfully, after a very thorough interview process, I started the end of July. And then literally grew arms. And I mean this sincerely to say, the line managers that I've had since the day I started in Galway, transferring over to North Dublin, working now very closely with our director in quality and CEO, it's what I've seen around me that has actually pushed me to get to where I am today. I never thought I'd be the kind of person that would like to manage people or even to manage a process. And I do a lot now with trying to influence our quality piece and our client service experience. And sometimes I stop to say, I never would have done that if I didn't see the women around me in this organization doing it. I think I would have been just sitting in an acute setting in a hospital doing which is fantastic work as well. But sometimes I stop and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing what I'm doing now. And I think I really got it from who I've worked with since I started here 6 years ago, sincerely.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so I suppose the next question is kind of looking at kind of barriers, any barriers that you feel like you might have faced as a woman in your career. Obviously, we've talked a bit about how Comfort Keepers has such a huge percentage of female workers, but do you still feel like anywhere in your career, whether before Comfort Keepers or even in education, I suppose, you faced any type of barrier because you're a woman? Whoever wants to go first with that.
I would say I never faced any barriers in my work, but I have worked with some male clients and a lot of males actually, but I don't even think they realize 20%. They were like, oh no, it's fine, you can't lift that client because you're a woman. And I would look and be like, but I'm trained to lift clients. I'm trained to do it the way you are, because whether this client is a big client or a small client, it's just, oh, because you were a woman, you couldn't lift. That was the only barriers that I kind of encountered with male. And I don't think they meant it in a way like we're just kind of being nice, but it was like, they still said, oh, you're a woman, you can't lift this client. Like, you know, that's kind of what I faced in my work being the healthcare assistant.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Quite lucky in Comfort Keepers. I don't think I've come across any barriers for being a woman, and that's what's to say my other roles before working in Comfort Keepers. You know, I worked in a bar, so I received a lot of barriers when working in that environment. But here I'm very lucky. I think career progression is my passion, and I think it's Comfort Keepers' passion. I think we can see that around this call too, that this for me is a positive call in relation to the barriers piece, because yeah, in this environment, yeah, I've been okay.
I think everyone, male or female, can learn from the unconscious bias that's out there. Yes. So we try and generalize. So for example, like even talk about where I came from with the nursing degree, that's a woman's job. Which, don't get me wrong, I mean, predominantly the industry has probably more females than males. That's not to say that if a man was to do that job that he can't do it as well as I can. And then similarly, you know, other positions that are male dominant, we can see women all over the world that are doing them now. So it's training your mind and kind of like looking at it from the unconscious bias. I just think that's something that I would notice sometimes. But I do think it's getting better.
Slowly, but it is getting better. Yeah.
I think the healthcare industry in general, though, is very female-led, and it always has been, and that it's been that bias. So I think, like for myself, I've never experienced any barriers within the healthcare sector. But again, as Rosanna said, like I worked in bars and shops and all of that beforehand, and I would have hit a lot of different barriers for a number of different reasons. But once I moved into the healthcare sector, then barriers disappeared. It didn't matter that you were a woman and you were trying to progress, because it was predominantly female that did it. So I think we're very lucky in that sense.
the expectation that society gives. I suppose if you look at our structure and who leads us, healthcare is probably looked at as a woman's role because it's caring and it's linked to that feminine aspect. But it is good to see more males coming into the role, and to see more males going up through the ranks and becoming leaders in healthcare as well.
Yeah, because it is really all about equality, and it really is about your skill set and what you're strong at.
Yeah.
I think that's nice to see too. I think that just needs to happen across every industry now.
Yeah.
Definitely. And there's some fantastic males in the industry, and they don't get the credit because
Amazing.
again, it's a female industry. So
Well, I think we'll proudly do an International Men's Day video as well, Kelly.
Yeah,
We'll get Shane to lead up.
We'll get Shane to lead that one.
Yeah.
Perfect. Brilliant. Yeah, so I suppose this kind of follows on from a little bit of an overlap with the last question around, I suppose, do you think Comfort Keepers is a good place to work as a woman? And if so, why? But I feel there's a little bit of that answer has already been given. Does anyone want to kind of talk about anything else related to that?
Well, I can jump in there. I can say from a parent that flexibility within Comfort Keepers has been great for me. And they really have worked around my flexibility. And I've been encouraged, especially by Ruth, I've been given opportunities to progress within the company as well. So, but because of, I had this little lady planned, and I know in the future there is always going to be opportunities to progress within the company. There's always that opportunity. So I think it's a great company to work for as well. As I said, the flexibility is the main, especially when you're a parent, that's the main thing women need is flexibility.
Yes. Completely agree with that.
Is there anything else, or will I move on to the next question?
No, I think we'll move on. I think it's kind of been answered.
Yeah, brilliant. What do you think is the biggest issue today facing women in the workplace in general?
I would say flexibility, exactly what Sharon just said.
Yeah,
I think that's huge because, and I think that's probably facing men too who want to be a stay-at-home father or be a stay-at-home mom. It's flexibility to work around your lifestyle, and work-life balance would be a bit, I would think is a bit
affordable childcare also.
Well, yes, 100%. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, but that can be brought up.
Yeah. On the flip side of the childcare thing is if you don't have children, young children, or you have no children or older children, the expectation on you to be able to commit more to things like, oh, well, you know, she has no kids, she can work at Christmas or she can do extra hours. So it's kind of two-sided, you know, on the people that don't have kids or younger children as well.
I think it comes back to work-life balance, doesn't it, for everybody? Because everybody has their own need in their life, and if we're looking at women and we're looking at gender equality in particular, I think it just has to come down to your work-life balance as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the different industries as well. I think, as we said, we're fairly different. That we have a female-driven team in Comfort Keepers, but I know from friends of mine that would work in other industries that there is that challenge if you're going into a boardroom to face 30 other people, or going on Zoom now, like, you know, with working remotely to 100 people presenting, and it can be a challenge with, I suppose, women we need to really work on how much we know we deserve to be there, and we know what we're talking about, and not be unintentionally intimidated, but feel like that's not where we are meant to sit or whatever. Do you know, some industries, I think that, like we said, we have a long way to go to kind of reduce that or get rid of it altogether.
Yeah, perfect. I suppose, what piece of advice would you give to like a young woman who's just starting her career, about to enter the workforce for the first time? What's your biggest piece of advice that you'd give?
Always aim high. And don't let anyone throw you off that path. Even if it takes you 10 or 20 years, you will make it. You just have to keep your sights set on what you want.
Brilliant.
100% agree with that. And I think have realistic expectations, and don't give up your work-life balance, but do understand work on being resilient and being a strong woman in the workplace, and your resilience will build over time as you grow. But like Sinead said, be patient and aim high.
Yeah.
Oh, Jessica, I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, yeah, the headphones are. I suppose for me, I'd always encourage education in any which way or shape. It doesn't have to be a big degree or a diploma or anything, but even small things, always like when there's, you know, we get offered different things that you can sit in on talks and updates on this, and constantly just challenging your brain and educating yourself in different areas that will help you open up your career more. I think sometimes as women, we can kind of put ourselves in a box and, like Ruth said, not have that open aspiration to keep going higher. So that education will help build your strength and your inner confidence to keep growing and keep going.
Yeah. I learned a lot by looking at people around me as well. So I think, like Sinead said, you pick where you want to go, like to take time to sit down and say, right, what do I want to do now? What do I want to be doing in 5 years? How am I going to get there? But the biggest learner for me was working with managers and being kind of open to their feedback or open to how they want to do things, be it male or female. I learned from both. And then you find yourself with time naturally adapting those things that worked, or even starting to think outside the box around what you want to infiltrate along those things that you learned. But yeah, I definitely think leadership is a big piece. And if you find someone that you think you can learn a lot from, go with it, and take their feedback and take pieces from them that they do, because it's valuable. So valuable.
I think that's the biggest strength of a woman, though, isn't it, right? Too, you know, our vulnerabilities are our biggest strength, because women can take, I think most women can take constructive criticism quite well, and we know we're not perfect, and we know we have things to work on, and I think we're very open to, and I know for me, coaching and advice from the leaders that I've had, listening to them, looking at them, taking their advice, you know, and taking it on board and moving forward with that. So our vulnerability allows us, I think, to be really open, and that's what helps us really, really upskill and become stronger women at the end of it.
Brilliant. Fantastic. And what women inspire you? Anyone wants to start off?
Well, I will start off with that. By far, would have to be obviously my mother, because she went through a lot. She experienced a lot of discrimination because she had a disability, but she worked full time. She had 2 jobs. She had her own business from home. But when she went into her office, that's when she experienced the discrimination because of her disability.
Yeah.
But she never let it get to her. Like, she was a leader within her team. She was very encouraging to other women, even though she was suffering herself. And I know, because she explained to me how mentally it used to affect her. But still, she never gave up the job where she was being discriminated against. But then to set her own business at home, she had 5 young kids. How she done it, I never know. Because there's times she used to be at 2 o'clock in the morning to wake up, Mammy is working. She'd get up the next morning, it could be 7 a.m, get us all ready for school. So I just inspired to be like her. She really had, like, I have that work ethic in me as well, to just want to work all the time and be like her. At the moment, it's not happening, but I know what down the road it's gonna hold for me. My future is just to be like Mum. If I can be like her, she inspired me just to push and be the great mom to my 2 kids as well. She really inspired me to keep going.
She sounds amazing.
Yeah, she was, and especially her disability, it wasn't easy, like, you know, because it was a physical disability. So she really struggled in her workforce, but she just never gave up. She was such a leader, and it was inspiring to speak, especially back in the day. Like, you know, there wasn't that much openness the way about it is now. People speak about it. She really didn't have any support or no one to speak to or anything. So she could quite well all by herself. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Fair play.
Strong,
yeah, absolutely.
amazing woman she was.
It's women like that that's led the way for us all, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'd have to echo Sharon as well. Like, don't get me wrong, there's so many amazing women out there that have done amazing things for the world. But to me, again, it's my mum. My mum didn't know how to read and write and only went back to education in her 40s. Before that, she used to do 15 cleaning jobs a week just to make sure there was food on the table for us, because she was a single mum. And she went back to education, got her QQI level 5 in healthcare, and started her career in healthcare in her 50s. And the whole way through, she always just pushed me. Education is how you get to where you want to be. She didn't want us to go through the same cycle that she went through. And again, like, all of these amazing women in the world are great, but they're not at home. Like, they're not there to have a cup of tea when I've had a bad day and listen to me. So I think Irish mammies are a different breed, and 100% would say that you couldn't take any more inspiration from me from anyone than my mum.
Yeah.
Rosanna, do you want to share?
Yeah, like, you're all going to be bored because it's my mum as well.
We have to change it up, Sinead.
Yeah, my mum and my dad had 4 girls. So I think any father's worst nightmare, really, to have four girls. But I think my mum was strong, worked, you know, and that was great to see her working. She had 4 young kids, and she got out and she worked, and she did everything she could to rear us right. And the one thing she did that I just think was, we're all really strong and really independent and very different personalities. But we're strong women, and we're you know, we're positive women, and we're extremely close friends. But I think it all comes from the fact that she hasn't a judgmental bone in her body. So no matter what we did or how different we were or how we wanted to express ourselves, I don't ever remember her telling me that was, you know, not the right way to do it. You know, so she was very much open to who you want to be, you be, and very much open to allowing us be who we ended up to be. So I'd have to come back to, I think that's where I learned from. I think that's who inspires me, definitely by far the most.
Fantastic. Sinead?
I'm going to go for the cheesy option. I couldn't decide. I read this question and I was like, right, where do you pick somebody famous? Do you pick, you know, a star? But I think even after this few minutes on this call, I think everybody on the screen in this call can be deemed as an inspiration for all different factors of life. You know, we have carers, we have nurses, we have Rosannas, you know, so I think everybody here does an amazing job. So they're an inspiration for everybody, regardless of what path you're going to choose. And I wouldn't tell her, but I would say Rosanna is an inspiration to me. But when I came into this company, she showed me, and we've had our rows, my God, like but she showed me that it was possible to gain and to achieve anything you wanted, even if you had to fight for it. So I thank you, and you can edit that bit out.
I will not.
I'll see you later, don't worry.
Five tears now.
Brilliant.
Thank you. And I think that's what it's about. International Women's Day. It's not, I didn't do anything, like, you've done just as much for me, Sinead, as I've done for you, and the same with everybody. We're here to help each other out. That's how we're going to have bad days, and how do we pick each other up?
Yeah.
And how do we move forward, because nobody can do it on their own. And I think that is the strength of women. We know that we need each other, and we rely on each other, and we all hold each other up.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of us.
I have a picture at the top of my stairs. So every morning,
I hope it's not of me.
Every morning when I come down, it's a quote, and it says, "Strong women, may we know them, may we be them, may we raise them." And every morning we see that quote. We have a lot of girls in this house as well, so that's always an inspiration for them. And it's like, right, take each day, and you can do this. And if you can't, you know, we'll all come back. We'll regroup in the evening, and we'll you know, we'll soothe each other, and we'll go again. So we really think that's very positive.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Then a picture of Rosanna's there beside that.
Essential. And then finally, Ruth.
Yeah, so I have loads, but I'll list them off fast.
Okay.
First one would be same as what a lot of you have said around. I have an older sister that's 10 years older than me, and then my mum, and I can't even, it's just like they're just the two people that obviously since I've been alive have probably led me, and there's a lot of things, or I am who I am, I think, because of the two of them. And even though we'd be all very, very different, I know that if I needed anything in the morning, they'd be there for me. And then similarly, even though they mightn't have understood things that I've wanted to do, or that they've supported me 110%. So that's very valuable to me. I love Mary McAleese. I know she's kind of one that comes and goes, but I think if I met her, I'd be like, oh my God. Just because she's so, for a woman that like held, you know, obviously like had a political background and whatever, and I just love how she's come out in the last few years and spoke about modern day stuff, and her input on like the repeal referendum and marriage for same-sex couples, stuff like that. I love it, and she's one that comes to my mind, and I'm like, I love the way she speaks. I just think she can hold a room. And then lastly, I would just say again, my manager since I've started. So I had Anita in Galway, Kathleen, Stephanie, now I have Julie, and I work quite closely with Colette, and Breed before Colette, like just phenomenal. It's the one thing that I think I'm most grateful for in this role. Love that I've progressed, and I think I've achieved a lot so far, but I working with those women has been phenomenal. And
tried all of our careers, mainly it's been Breed and Colette have been our leaders. And both of them are just completely about leadership and career progression, and you know, how can we help each other? There's nobody, I don't think any woman we've ever worked for thinks I can go out and do this on my own and I'm going to do it and that's it. Like, I have had so much help, and I think everybody that I look at in the company have had so much help from the women around them. And I think that comes from the leaders that we've had as well. I think we're very lucky.
They're so, like, just one more shout out to Breed and Colette. They're such strong women that, like, you're nearly in awe of them, but then at the same time they're like, are you okay? Like, there's that balance that you're like, wow, they're getting stuff done, but then it's like they know if you're not in a good place or if you've had a bad day, it's like, you know. And I mean, I'm saying that when I started as a coordinator, like I felt that they would have had that. So yeah, no, power to them, they're great.
And there's no fear of making a mistake, and I think Sinead, like you'll see that even trickles through our team as well. You make a mistake, you know, that's okay, we move on. That has always come from the top down for us. Like, I wouldn't go to Colette now and say, oh, I've done something and there's any negative to that, you know. It's okay, how do we move on, learn from that and move on, you know. There's absolutely no, it's just 100% support, which is what.
Can I just say, from day one, I want to say Ruth has been great for me. She's
vice versa, Sharon.
Ruth, you've always supported me. You've always said there's opportunities there for me. You've given me the confidence that I didn't even have myself, and I know you trusted me, like, because I know there's going to be other opportunities down the road for me. And the email you sent me, because like, I love being a healthcare assistant and I love doing that, but I do believe one day I can progress, and you've always said that to me from day one, and I appreciate that. So thank you to you, Ruth.
No, absolutely. Sorry, just to, like, Sharon, like when we were in North Dublin together, if I needed anything, she always had my back. So no, feeling is the exact same. I knew that's 100%, you were always there. And God, even at the start of the pandemic, we would have been lost without you. You were phenomenal. So yeah.
Hence the reason for you being one of our nominees for Carer of the Year, by the way. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant. And then just one last question. What are you most proud of in your own careers? What's the one thing you're kind of the proudest of achieving? So we might start off with Rosanna this time.
That's an easy question. It's everybody I work with. So it's Sinead, and what Sinead just said, you know, around me, it's how she feels about how she's progressed because of what she's learned from me. And that's, you know, it's everybody that's learned from each other. And if I can help anybody, if anybody wants to pick up the phone to me, email me, anything, and I can help anyone, that's what I'm proud of. I am proud of the fact that people can come to me and I can support them. Whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, if I can support you and lift you up and get you to where you want to be, that's my proudest moment.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Ruth?
To go smaller, I think the biggest part for me, and something that really just brings me so much joy, I go home on a buzz, is like when you are, and it would have been when I was assessing clients or starting home care packages, to now supporting nurses with just talking about certain elements of home care packages. If you get someone home from hospital, be it that it's their wish if they're very, very ill and maybe in the last days or months of their lives, or young people that may have been in hospital for a long, long time because they were in an accident and their wish is to get home and start living their life again. Honest to God, the thing of sitting back and knowing that someone's at home after being not there for a long time and going through a horrible accident, or their health changing. And I don't have that as much of that direct connection anymore, because obviously I'm working with the nurses as they're doing it, but that's the one thing I just love. And I sit back sometimes, I'm like, home care is like the dream job sometimes, because it's not only looking after people, it's like it's quality of life, and just, you know, getting people out of where the acute settings or whatever, and, you know, just normalizing after such maybe horrific things, or you know, getting diagnosed and stuff like that and getting home. I just think, yeah, supporting people to get home is something that I'm always very, very proud of.
Perfect. Brilliant. Jessica?
I think I'd be quite along the lines of Ruth. I'm proud that I work for such a great company that does inspire so many and support so many in every different aspect. So I'm very proud to be part of the team, but I think overall the pride sits with the actual job we have. Same as Ruth. I love that we help every day, and that's not just me, that's the carers, that's the supervisors, it's every aspect of the team, from the care staff right up to the CEO, because she has the heart of gold as well. And I'm just so proud that that's what we've all dedicated our lives to at this time, is to make sure other people's lives are better, and whatever that takes to get to that, that's what we do. And I just love that.
Great stuff. Sharon?
Oh, it certainly has to be by far. Working through the pandemic, it was an unbelievable feeling just to know that I was the only person going into that client, that I was going to make a difference to them emotionally, just to try lift them up for the day, because they wouldn't see someone else, probably just me the next day. You really had to be emotionally strong going to that person. It just made me feel so proud knowing that I've made that person happy for the day, because it was very, very hard. We all know the pandemic and the elderly people.
Shocking.
I was just so proud of going into each house just to help them in any way, whether I was just sitting and talking to them and just to reassure them, just, you know, that everything will be okay. It was a long time, but they got through it, and to see people at the end of it, the pandemic is over now. Obviously I'm on maternity leave, I can't see most of the clients now, but I'm sure they're all so happy to be relieved that it's over. So I'm just proud of that to walk through the pandemic, to help a lot of people. Really am.
I think all of us here that weren't in the front line are nothing but unbelievably proud of you as well, Sharon, and the entire care team that we work with and work for that entire period, a horrific period.
Yeah,
It was amazing to be a part of. Yeah.
And then just finally, Sinead?
Oh, it's hard to pick one thing, I suppose. Yeah, like to just reiterate what everybody else said, to be proud of what's been achieved by Irish people, I suppose, during COVID, and how everybody pulled in together and worked together and supported each other. That's a pride I don't think you can ever feel again. As well, you know, what Ruth said, to know that, okay, I'm not on the front line with clients, but, you know, every little thing that somebody else does behind the scenes does impact on their lives, and it's making sure that carers turn up and they have a call and they see somebody every day. You know, it makes your heart feel good to know that you've impacted somebody's life. Yeah.
Sinead, I think you were all our saving grace during December when we had some staffing issues. I think every branch in the country knew your name, because you were the woman with the plan, having to look after everyone. And yeah, I won't forget that for a long time.
I accept wine, just so you know.
Fantastic. Brilliant. So that kind of brings to a close all of the questions that I had for you all Thank you so much for participating in this lovely chat. It was amazing to hear about your experiences and I suppose get to know your perspectives a little bit better. And yeah, so thanks very much. I hope you all had fun and I don't know, learned something or enjoyed sharing your
And
story.
just lovely to point out too, it's nice that we have the leader of the future in our call as well with us.
Yeah, 100%.
Beautiful, beautiful little dress.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what you do. Yes.
She'd be encouraged to do the best anyways.
Definitely.
Yes.
A CEO in making.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.